Alright, good morning YouTube. Welcome back to the homestead. So, I'm in what I call my shop because I'm underneath the shade of this black walnut tree, that black walnut tree, a couple cedar trees, and this is where I usually come do a lot of my repairs in the summer on my tractors and lawnmowers because it's in the shade, it's a lot cooler. Usually I can get more work done. But what brings me back to this area is the reason for this video is black raspberries. So around me I have all these wild black raspberries that sprouted out right here underneath the black walnut tree. Nothing's supposed to grow underneath the black walnut tree, but these grew really well. So I'm going to do a video today on how to identify them, how to transplant them, and basically how to care for them in their first year. I've already done this. I'm just excited to share it with you guys so that you can see it for yourselves too if you're thinking about doing it on your own. So let's get growing. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is the first indicator you can obviously use to see if you have black raspberries is you've got black raspberries growing on a vine. So this is the Foraging, which is the second year growth from this year that died. And as you can see, this particular one has 1, 2, 3 additional shoots that have come out, and they have some very easy to define traits. I'm going to go ahead and show you just a really quick obvious thing. If you look, you can kind of see almost like this mildew layer, and I've looked it up. It is kind of mildewy. That might be bad for other brambles, but for this, it almost treats it as a sun coating. And I've noticed that as the black raspberries get more and more developed, as this primocane, first year growth, is turning into a floricane, second year growth, you start to see that go away, and you start to see this darken up. And then those are the shoots that will produce the black raspberries next year. And as you can see, I've got several different pockets where they're coming up, and I'll have multiple black raspberries from all of these. Just happened to be over here and I noticed that I had another wild mulberry pop up, so I'll be planting that in my mulberry project, but that's for another video. So let me show you where I'm going to do it. Also, some falsely blackberries that generally tricked me, but now I think I can just get right past those. They're not real. They are blackberries or brambles, and they taste horrible, and I don't want to deal with them. So I'm going to show you guys some of those, and as I walk, we'll see if we can identify any additional black raspberries on our way over to where we're going to be planting these guys. So let's get walking. All right, so as we're walking, did anything pop out to you guys? It should. Haha, there it is. Do you guys see the kind of mildew? This one's actually turning more brown than the other one, so it's even more ready. So this is what they look like towards the end of the season. This is I'm in September, and I think that when I was doing my black raspberry walks every day with my wife picking them, that was one of the spots. There was a lot more in there, but it's been taken over by the forest. I need to get in there and trim them. Something else that you can mistake a black raspberry for is these roses, these wild roses. They are native to East Tennessee, and they are also very much so related to the black raspberry bramble family. So just be careful that you're not accidentally identifying one of those. Let's see what else I can find on this walk. All right, guys, not black raspberry related, but it's still really cool. I came across this vine sticking out, and I'm like, that looks a lot like passion fruit. And what do you know? It's the native Maypop wild passion fruit that just grows wild here, right beneath a wild American cherry tree that I've done a video on as well. Very, very cool things that I find on my property every day. And if you're wondering, yes, I have about 8,000 black raspberries. Here's another wild mulberry that I kind of carved around the outside of it that I'll be transplanting. But let me see if I can find any of those brambles I'm trying to warn you about. All right, there's my wild persimmon tree just loaded with fruit. You guys can see that. That's pretty cool. I still didn't see any of the brambles that I'm worried about. Hopefully I can find you guys a good example, but either way, if they don't have that kind of mildewy look to them, they're not a black raspberry. I guarantee it. Something that's a little bit cool. These are wild grapevines. And although these grapes aren't very good, they actually taste just like grapes. But the skin is very bitter and they're all seed. So they're not quite as good. It's fun when I'm out here looking for things and I discover new things. So this is an Amore honeysuckle. It's in the honeysuckle family. And the berries, I'm told, are extremely poisonous to humans. Like, don't eat them. They're very juicy. Lots of seeds. But these are actually a very invasive species here. They're not native to our climate. Oh, I'm not finding some good examples. I know I've got one in my berry patch. Did you guys see the black raspberries back here? You can see there's one right here growing out of that cluster. And you can still tell they're black raspberries because of the white coating, even though it is fading off. Well, I'm gonna go back and just show you guys what they look like when they're growing in my berry area, because they look very similar to this. All right, so I got one right here. You can tell, one, it doesn't have that telltale sign of the white, mildew on it. But it's also exceptionally thorny in comparison. I'm not saying the black raspberry is not thornless. It's not thornless, but it's got a whole lot less thorns than these things do. And these tend to grow more than 3 upright growths at a time. And they also have 5 usually leaves per node, while the black raspberries usually have 3. So that's how you tell the difference. Let me show you where I'm going to be putting them. So you can see I've got my rows. I made this new row for black raspberries. I've got some ocean forest and some other soil that I'm going to be just putting into these holes in the piles of wood chips and letting them grow. The reason I know this will work, it's not my first time doing it. Let me show you guys. So at the beginning of the summer, I planted some black raspberries here, and what happened was this giant bush of the native nasty bramble grew up next to it. So I killed those last week. Once I do, it'll be cleared up. But this row right here, I've determined that this grass strip's gotta go. I gotta fill that in with wood chips too. So that'll probably be one of the last things I do. I'm gonna fill these in with soil. Then I'm gonna get my black raspberries and put them in. And then after I get them in, I'm going to fill up this area with wood chips before I put the trellises up. Because I think the trellises are going to be very useful for this particular area, and I'm gonna need them. A couple years not doing trellises versus doing them, it's a need. All right, let me go get some blackberries. I don't know why I said let's go get some blackberries when I'm doing a black raspberry video. These aren't completely ripe yet, but since I said it, I gotta do it. All right, let's go get some black raspberries. All right, guys, I was able to dig one up. It was actually really easy. The key is just going around it with the shovel and then picking up the whole root ball. I would recommend, even though I'm not gonna do it, wearing gloves, just because these things are very thorny. So once I get them all picked, I'm gonna load them onto my little wheelbarrow and then bring them all over. So let's get going on these. All right, hopefully you guys can see this because it's kind of hard to get at. And we're free. It was that easy. I'm gonna get the rest of them and show you guys. Whoo-wee! So I got them all dug up. That was actually 100 times easier than I thought. Some of them I get the full root ball out. Most of them were somewhere in between a full root ball and just completely exposed, which means I gotta get these in the ground quick if I want them to live. So I'll be right back over in the row where I prepared the holes. All right, so I already got 3 in the ground, and I'm gonna show you what I do. Basically, I just pick it up by the roots. Whoo! Get it so the plant is going to go in the direction that I want it to. I'm gonna dig a nice hole in my ocean forest. Which, by the way, I used to be like a super ocean forest fan. They've kind of gone down in quality over the years, but they're still one of the better options for potting soil. So that's why I continue to, yes, I should get rid of this grass, otherwise it's just okay. So I got that, packed it in a little bit. Whew. Then I'm gonna have this just come over here. And this will make a lot more sense once I get the trellises. So I've got one more that I'm gonna put in. Alright guys, there you have it. I finally got this job done. What I've noticed on my channel is that I've been putting some stuff off because I've wanted to make videos. I need to stop doing that so I can get more done and just show you guys the projects that I've done after the fact. I know they're not as good, but I'm probably going to start making more content like that just because I can produce so much more if I do it that way and get so much more done. It's been a very busy summer with family, with garden, with all the activities that are going on. So I'm going to top these guys off with water. I'm going to call it quits for the day. I'm going to make this part 1 of the transplant and do this part 2. When I put up the trellis, so you guys can see the full picture of it. Honestly, this is probably one of those, it's not the worst time to plant one in September. The temperatures definitely drop. The best time is when it's dormant. But what I found is I've done that the last 2 years. I've wanted to wait until it was dormant, and then I forgot where they were, or a brush came up and took over that area, and I couldn't find the black raspberries, or one area I even marked it. Ended up trying to go dig them up. Apparently they were growing up through gravel, and it was like trying to dig through concrete. So I just went ahead and did it now. But if you want to do it right, mark it in the end of fall, and once the leaves are gone and it's dormant, dig it up and do what I did. You'll have much better success. But I'm confident that this is going to work. I did it during the heated summer, and those came back with a vengeance. So wish me luck. I think it's going to work out. I'm going to water these guys, and I'll see you next video. Bye.